He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
You guys, I just want to say, you're the real fucking Armcharies. 10 o'clock show. Yeah. That's really something. You guys, one of the Armcharies is drunk, everybody. Keep your eyes on your six. Someone's a little rowdy back there. I wasn't planning on doing this, but it does remind me of a story. My father and I were one time in Florida on vacation. I was 14, and we went and saw a Steven Seagal movie, Steven. Under Siege or something. It was, suffice to say, there was a lot of karate and stuff. We loved the movie, that goes without saying. And we're walking out. It was a pretty packed movie, and I'm walking next to my dad, and he goes, Stay alert. This kind of movie, a guy will kick you in the fucking back walking out of. And I go, what? He goes, this kind of movie's on karate kick you in the back. And I was like, in my dad's worldview, sometimes you're leaving a movie and a stranger karate kicks you in the back. And for years that never made sense to me. And then one time I was leaving the movies with my wife. We were leaving a parking garage, and there was like a long line to pay at the toll booth. And we were in a truck, and I go, yeah, I wonder if anyone's just ever just driven over that little parking curb and out the sidewalk there and left. And I said that out loud because I was considering driving over the parking thing and just leaving. And then I realized all of a sudden, oh my God, my dad was thinking about kicking somebody in the back. And he thought, shit, I can't be the only one thinking about kicking someone in the back. Watch your six. Okay, from the bottom of my heart, Monica and I sit in a stuffy attic a couple times a week, and it's so hard for us to imagine that there are all of you real human beings that like us so much that you would leave your houses, get a babysitter, spend time with a strange Uber driver, all those things that you would come and support us like this. It really blows our mind. We can't even believe it. It makes us so happy. It's so fun to be able to share this experience with all of you guys. Okay, so a little woodland creature snuck into my carry-on bag, and when I opened it up at the hotel, it was the one and only Manica Padman.
Hi, family. Hi. Thanks for coming. This brings us such joy. You guys have no idea doing these live shows and seeing all of you in the flesh.
You guys, a good friend of mine is joining us tonight. He is the sweetest guy. We are on a similar trajectory through life, which we'll learn about. He is the one and only, the lovable Jason Biggs is here tonight. I thought that might be the one time I could start a chant and it didn't work. It's going for Biggs, 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 Biggs. Hey, before we launch into this may blow your mind because it blew mine. Who here do we think came furthest? You.
From where?
Australia.
Oh! Thank you for calling Lucifer's Pizza.
No. Oh, no.
For our Melrose location, press 1.
Oh, no.
For our Hillhurst location, press 2.
Oh boy.
That's pretty damn far, Australia.
Yeah.
Do I like pineapple? Oh, my pizza.
Oh
If
my
you're buying,
gosh.
I'll eat a dead rat. I don't care. It'll come with the cheese and the sauce still, right? Welcome from Australia. All right, without further ado, let me get my cheat sheet. I prepared a ton of questions for you. 6.
I'm so curious what you dug up.
Well, I was shocked to learn this about you. You're an Emmy nominee.
Yeah.
I don't say that in
Oh boy, I
I
know.
was so
Dismissive.
surprised. You were
No.
nominated for something.
No.
Your work was recognized. This is weird. Would you like to explain?
No. No. The only TV show I associate you with is Orange is the New Black.
Right.
But I think I would have heard that you were nominated for an Emmy. But
Yeah. So I was not. Yeah. There is an asterisk, I think, next
No.
to the. Because. It was a daytime Emmy. All due respect.
If there's any daytime Emmy
All due respect. If
winners.
there's any daytime Emmy nominees in the audience. No, it was for
Daytime Emmy winners got 50% off tickets.
Oh wow!
Yeah. That'd be great to offer deals that you knew no one could, like Super Bowl champions, 90% off.
Yeah, totally. If you are above 7 feet tall,
Sit in
free
the
meal,
front row.
free wings.
Everest Summiters, 90% off.
Yeah. So it was. When was that? It was 94, and it was for As the World Turns, and I played. Thank you.
Yes.
I played Pete Wendell, a troubled teenager,
Okay.
and
What kind of troubles?
Well, let's see. He, kind of regular teenage mischief, including finding $800,000 of stolen ransom money, and then
Sure.
and then deciding to spend it on things like ice skates. Literally, there was an episode where I had to I was like, "Yo, check out these new ice skates I got." It's and they're built on this shitty set on 57th Street. They built this fake. It was
no.
plastic that you could skate on. Kind of, they were real skates, but it was plastic.
Spray painted white.
Yeah, I mean it was horrible, and I felt every take, and I was like, "This is some bullshit." So I did it. I did the show for about a year, and I was 15, and I was called into the executive producer's office, and he essentially fired me.
Oh.
Right? And I was like, whoa, this is heavy. I'm 15. Okay. Just kind of my first, so that's how this shit goes. And
do you remember how
it was storyline reasons. Which I do believe, first of all, for my ego, but also I just really don't think I didn't do anything wrong that I remember.
Right.
But it probably was a pretty boring storyline. I just bought ice skates with ransom money for
But
fuck's
it
sake.
earned you an Emmy.
What's that? So I get fired, and I'm and it crushed me.
You have to be devastated.
I was devastated.
Yeah.
And right before I had gotten that part, I'd been acting since I was a little kid, but I hadn't worked in a while, right? And a year or two. It was really slow, but
Which was 1/10 of your life at that age.
Exactly.
Just want to point that out. It's longer
Exactly
to
right.
him than it is
but
to
even,
us.
even more than that, it was a pretty crucial year. It was, or 2 years. It was the beginning of high school for me, 8th grade going into high school, and that transition.
Pubic hair.
The whole thing. And
Nocturnal emissions.
You don't have to admit to that.
Oh, coming.
Yeah. Nighttime coming.
Lots of
Sleepy
emissions. Lots of
time
emissions.
coming.
Yes. Totally. Humping the bed sheets.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I gotta wash these now. And so it was weird. I was acting, and so I couldn't, play sports. And this is the violin playing portion of the story. And I didn't have friends. Basically, it was a really weird, awkward time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember driving into that audition at 14 years old and telling my mom, I got to stop this acting thing. Like, I like have no friends. I'm not hanging out just in case I get an audition. Like, I'm not playing sports. I'm not doing anything. And so she was like, okay, like whatever you want to do. And so I was like, yeah, I think this is it. I'm done. And I auditioned, and I got the part. And I was like, yeah, I'm back. Yes. And then less than a year later, they were like, you're not back. You're actually fired. And I was like, fuck. Now another year has gone by where like I don't have any friends. And but I remember I was crushed. And then 2 weeks later, the Emmy nominations come out, and I was the only fucking guy nominated from the show. And I was like, yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then I didn't win, and I wanted to kill myself again.
Now we're joking about As the World Turns, but I would have played the ice skates on that show. Like, I would be thrilled to have been on that show, especially at 14 years old.
I was stoked. No, it was great.
Yeah, and but first of all, you're from around here. You're from New Jersey, right?
Bergen County, New Jersey. Yep.
Garden State. I directed a movie after it. You guys saw it. Did you guys like that movie I made about your state, Garden State? Now, your mother was a nurse, or is, I don't know.
Is, yep.
She still is.
Nurse. Still is, yep.
Okay, this is just a weird side note. Do you know these people with Munchausen by proxy?
No.
Well, it's where you make your kids sick so you can get attention. Right.
Whoa.
It's dark.
That's heavy.
Almost all of them are nurses. This is the weirdest.
Well. Almost all of them.
Anything over 51% is almost all.
Okay.
I stand by almost all.
I'll fact check this for real.
So, did you ever catch your mom like poisoning you or anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, that's.
I didn't catch her, but now that I think about
Yeah, it's not normal for a guy to have
2
fatty
years.
liver at 12. So. But now your dad, and when I read this, I was so excited. Your dad was a shipping company manager.
it, yep.
That sounds so mafioso, doesn't
Totally.
it?
It definitely does.
I mean, it sounds like sanitation, management.
Yeah. Wink, wink. Totally.
And you're Italian, not to stereotype. And in Jersey, with a shipping company manager.
Yeah.
A lot of ships coming in, a lot of ships, some fall off. Did your dad ever come home like 32 VCRs or anything?
Yeah, he did. He did.
No, what did your dad do?
That's so funny because it's true. He definitely encountered that where he was. So it's to this day pretty nebulous what he did, and I again, that only supports the
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
All of his shipping company meetings were at Bada Bing.
He always just wore leather jackets a lot.
Drove an Escalade.
Was at the strip club. Most of his. So he basically handled for this one shipping company at the port of Newark in New Jersey. It's a huge shipping port, and he would just sort of keep track of inventory that was coming in on certain trains and stuff.
So
Still sounds mafia-like.
Yeah.
The more I explain it,
Yeah.
I think my dad was in the mob.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
I always
he's
thought he
like
had
a
the lamest job. Maybe he had the coolest
That's
job.
right. Glass half full.
Just start poking around your backyard. Next time you're at the family house, just
Yeah.
take a little poker and ooh, that felt like a rib.
That's funny. That's funny. There were always patches missing grass,
Right.
like 6 feet by.
And would you go see Dad at work?
Yeah, I would. In fact, so yeah, it was very cool for a kid. It was cool, and I actually got to take Sid, my oldest son, there. Just this past year, so was 4, and so I was like, I think he's like right at the age. And my dad was like, "Can I take him?" And I was like, "You know what? Let's do it."
Yeah.
And we went down there, and he had the best fucking time. It was.
Did he get to
so
go up
cool.
in a crane?
He did not get to go up. I got to go up
You
when
have.
I was a kid, but I think the rules have changed a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
A little bit more liability concerns. So he did not, but he still had a great time. And then my dad actually just lost his job recently.
You're kidding?
No, I swear to God. he was shot and killed by his. He's buried in my backyard.
He lost
I think.
his job, huh?
And he's somewhere in the Meadowlands underneath Giant Stadium. No, but he did. He lost his job, and it was like he was due to retire anyway, but they were like downsizing, and he was like eking it out. He didn't want to, but he knew he was going to. But anyway, kind of they forced his hand. It was kind of annoying, kind of sad. This just happened.
Well, first of all, sorry.
Yeah, right. Bummer.
Yeah. What's his name? Is it? Did you say? Dad.
Dad. I thought.
Dad Biggs. Dad Biggs.
Daddy. I mean, I stopped. He changed his name from Daddy to Dad when I was like 18, but I thought that was Gary.
But was it a?
Gary Boombats.
Oh, good. Yeah. Was it because automation has improved or
Yeah,
ageism?
that's exactly right.
Oh, that is
no,
it.
no, that's exactly it. It was all. He was literally. There was a whole office supporting this sort of tracking of the inventory,
Which AI is now.
And then by the end, it was just my dad.
Oh,
Literally just
really?
my dad in this office for like the last 2 years. So I mean, the writing was on the wall, but it was still a bummer,
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm glad. The reason I thought of that was like I'm glad Sid got to go down before.
Just the computer kids can go.
Right, exactly. Just the computer
The
dorks.
offspring of computers are little tiny toaster ovens and rolling around there. They stayed married, right?
They did.
Yeah.
They're still married. It's a very matriarchal house. My mom sort of ran the show.
Yeah, I get it, girls. Time's up, motherfuckers. Any of your sisters hot?
Hashtag me too, bro. Relax. Fuck, dude.
Matriarchal. So, mom's Sicilian.
Yeah, her
Again,
family
I
was
just want to
Sicilian,
stereotype.
Yeah. Family Sicilian.
Tough
broad. Yeah, she's no joke. Still. Gomorrah, yeah. Pretty much.
Okay, good. And Dad's only half tough, right? He's like
exactly.
half Irish.
Yeah, English is... Biggs is
100%
English.
alcoholic. Right.
Pretty much. His dad apparently was full on, yeah. Which was interesting because then growing up, my parents were very like super anti.
Oh,
to
really?
the point where like one drink equaled, well, you're gonna die and that's it. You're gonna leave the house, you're gonna have one beer, and you're gonna wrap yourself around a tree. Goodbye, I guess. And I was like, oh my God.
Cheers.
Fuck, yeah, salud. Cent'anni.
And they were Roman Catholic,
They're
right?
Roman Catholic, grew up
I
Catholic.
keep saying they, as if they've had some huge turnaround, but they're Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting. The ebbs and flows of religion in my house. It was always, we were like Christmas Catholics basically. But some years it was more extreme than others. Some years it was more than just Christmas.
Right.
We went to Sunday school.
Well, that's...
Because we like got confirmed. We did all that stuff. I hated it, man. Hated it.
It's not a blast for a kid.
It's definitely
Even
not
if you
fun.
still believe that's great.
It's just
go
not
with
fun.
God.
It just was never fun. And also because I didn't see them, they sort of picked and chose when they were going to, be it. Right? So for me, I had this early impression that it was just sort of, either believe it.
Yes.
Or don't believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the sort of wishy-washy.
Lipstick on Dad's collar, all of a sudden we're at church once a week.
Exactly right.
On our knees.
Right.
So I guess if Dad is a shipping logistics genius and Mom is a nurse, how at 5 do you develop an interest in acting?
So I have an older sister who is here. Hello.
She's sitting in 2 different seats.
She threw her voice. She's always been good with impressions and throwing her voice.
Yeah.
And so when she was a kid, she was in this like dance group in New Jersey, just this sort of as a hobby initially, but she was quite good, and then she got into this sort of touring group, and I don't know, they did quite well. They kind of toured around the East Coast and stuff, and then she, because of our proximity to New York, a lot of the other girls in the group started getting agents and managers and doing the acting and Broadway thing. And Heather, my sister, wanted to do it as well. And my parents were like, okay, I mean, you know, it'd be a good way to save money for college if you worked. And so she got an agent, she got a manager, and she started working. Yeah, she actually worked pretty consistently for a few years as a kid. And when I was 5, I guess her manager asked if I would want to go on an audition or something.
And what's the age gap between you?
She's 7 years my senior. So kind of a big gap. And then I have a younger sister who's 2.5 years younger.
Okay.
Yeah. And at one point, all 3 of us were doing it. And then I just sort of, they both stopped when they got like middle school, high school. And I loved it, and I worked a ton.
Yeah,
And
so at 5, what kind of stuff are you doing? Like commercials?
Commercials, modeling stuff, obviously.
Yeah,
But like, yeah, like
Modeling.
kids, you know, like the JCPenney catalog.
Sure, Kristen
wearing
did
the-
those too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And were you aware of the fact that you were making money?
I was aware of it at a certain point, surely. I mean, when that's a really good question. I mean, obviously at that age I was.
Because you want shit,
aware.
right? You wanted a Nintendo and all the games. You wanted...
Right, and that's why I'm thinking about it, because at a certain point I remember being aware of it, because I would sort of say, like, well, I would ask for something.
$90,000 last
Yeah,
year.
I would
Why
ask
can't
for
I have
something.
Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, $90,000. I want a fucking stomper.
I'll buy you one too, Ma.
I'll buy you a
Jesus.
fucking car if you let me buy.
But I do remember those conversations happening. Like, but I just work. Can I get a thing? And their whole thing, and they stayed consistent through all of my childhood, to their credit, which was, you're doing this to put away money for college. If you turn 18 and you choose not to go to college, which I would advise against, but if that's what you choose, do whatever the fuck you want with your money.
So high school,
Yeah.
you alluded to the fact that you weren't crushing, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
So they all know this, but you don't know this about me, but 7th grade for me, I was Brad Pitt.
I believe that.
If I could live a single year in my life over and over again, it would be 7th grade. It never got better than that.
You peaked.
And 8th grade was pretty good. I retained about 90% of the coolness. And then I switched and went to another high school, gained 4 inches, lost 20 pounds, terrible mullet, acne, fucking wake-up call, Dax.
Yeah. I bet, man. I bet.
Oh, my God. So I had 2 years of just... I would look at a girl and I could see I was just dead invisible. Like, she's like, maybe try to see past the mullet or whatever.
She would literally walk into you.
Yes.
You're like, what? Sorry.
My brother convinced me I should have a perm on top, but keep it straight in back. So I'd have sweet permanent upstairs, and then just sheet of hair in back. Fucking huge nose, acne, wafer thin. What a look.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now, at a certain point when you go through that, everyone should go through that, because at a certain point I said to myself, going into 11th grade, no one's going to turn their head and look at you. That's just that. So that ship sailed. Your currency is going to be your personality. You have got to up the game. You got to learn to dance. You got to tell some jokes.
Be funny, sure. Yep.
Ride a motorcycle.
Yep.
All those things.
Yeah.
Did you have that moment where you're like, okay, I'm not the quarterback of the football team? That's your sister. Don't worry. That's a sibling thing.
She knows that she remembers vividly when I came home and was like, fuck, I'm not the quarterback of the football team. Yeah, I always felt different because of the acting thing, really. It was always a little weird, and no one else was doing what I was doing. And so it was very strange. And, that got the normal, get picked on and stuff, for it. I was never, I never thought that I would be that, but I definitely realized, that it was going to be personality for sure. Which I knew which I also had already at that point. I had also gotten the sort of what's the word I'm looking for? The encouragement from doing the acting, right? So I would get parts that called for the funny whatever.
Yeah.
So like I had that sort of going for me, and I felt confident in that world already.
Yes.
But then I would come back to my town and would feel other than and be like, oh fuck, I'm a loser. But I know that I can do this, right? So as I got a little bit older in high school and girls and the whole thing, it was definitely my.
And you had the advantage of being raised basically by a sister, right? That's a pretty big advantage. She knew how to talk to gals.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was weird. It was a weird age gap. I definitely learned a lot from her, but like, she was out of the house and in college I think before I hit middle school. Like, I think I was 7th grade and she was in college.
Right.
Right. So it was sort of a weird, I don't know. I kind of remember those sort of awkward years kind of being on my own a little bit.
Now, what's crazy to me is that you were on Broadway at 12 years old, yeah? You did your first, was that your first play on Broadway?
Yep, that was my first play. It was in 91, I think. So I was 12. We did it actually in Seattle at the Seattle Rep, and then came back and did it on Broadway the following year. I turned 13, and then I turned 14 during the Broadway run. We did it for about a year.
This is when the pubic hair.
And I was playing a 10-year-old, and at that point I was like...
Oh, you're playing. Were there
Yeah.
any girls in it your age?
No.
You were
there
the
not.
only child.
There was one other kid. You know Dave Krumholtz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
So Dave, that was his first job. He was literally plucked from Forest Hills Middle School, like a production of Bye Bye Birdie. Suit, like open casting call. They were trying to find this kid, and they found Krumholtz. You guys
Wow.
know Dave? He's like one of the funniest
Yeah.
people in the world. He's like...
That was Dave.
That was
Yeah.
Dave, yeah. Dave and my sister and his sister. But yeah, so the two of us. So
you were in an adult world for 2 years.
Yeah.
And what is that experience like?
super weird. I mean, fun. When I would literally like, I'd go to school during the day, and then I'd come home and I'd do a little bit of homework. My mother would drive me in to the city, and I'd do the show. And then...
Because you're doing like 8 shows a week?
8 shows a week.
Regular schedule?
Yep.
Oh my
yep.
goodness.
And it was not a short play. I was only in the first act, and then my character was older in the second act, but I had to stay for curtain call, so I would use the second act to do more homework. And then curtain call was like 10:45, do that, get in the car, my dad would pick me up, drive back to Jersey, hopefully no traffic, get home 11:30, 12, go to sleep, and then get up at 6 and finish whatever homework I had, and then go to school again.
Jesus.
And it was like this weird, just like fucking Groundhog Day crazy, except for Wednesdays I would leave school early to go do the matinee. And then the weekend, when all these kids, all my friends, well, I didn't have many friends.
Your
but
friend.
My friend.
Yeah. When friend would be playing.
Yeah. But it was like, yay, weekend. And I'm like, yay, 4 shows. And I would go in and do, crazy weekend of shows. And then all of the theater people were like, yay, Monday, day off. And I'd be like, yay, back to school, fuck you.
Yeah.
It was a really crazy
Did
year.
you like it, or did you quickly get disillusioned?
I liked it, but it was definitely... I'll tell you what I liked about it. I liked that when I came into New York and I was at the theater, and especially when I was performing, there was nothing up to that point in my life that I enjoyed more, right? It was clear doing that play for me that it was the best thing ever. I was incredibly lucky, and I would love to do it for the rest of my life. Like that was, so that was obviously an amazing part of the experience, but I was exhausted. I mean, I was definitely tired. And
you would have been 6'2".
I would have been what?
6'2". Your parents.
Yeah,
told me,
exactly.
If you didn't have that period, yeah.
It's so weird, man. And had pneummonia almost the whole run of it.
That your mom gave you?
What's that?
That your mom
That my mom gave me.
Mononucleosis. Yeah. But do you think that you liked the control aspect of it?
Of the theater specifically?
performing.
Of performing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you go into a high school scenario and there's all these variables and you have zero control over any of them,
Totally.
but you go on stage and then you know what that person's going to say and then I can control how I'm going to do this. Like
Absolutely. Yes, for sure. It felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely felt safe.
Especially when you're that age, you don't really have too much autonomy over anything
Over
in
anything.
life. And then all of a sudden, you're the boss of that 10
Yeah.
minutes or whatever the hell it is, right?
Yeah, and
You're entrusted, too. It's a huge,
huge responsibility.
yes, that you're
Yeah.
giving a little kid.
Totally.
I would-
And I knew it and felt it and appreciated it. And also, like, at home, I mean, my parents and I have a very good relationship at the moment. We do, at the moment. But there were some years in there where it was really hard. I mean, I'm sure a lot of it's just sort of normal teenage stuff.
Yeah.
But it was also I grew up in a very operatic household, right?
Okay.
Like, it was very loud, lot of
Big emotions.
supercharged.
Mm-hmm.
For better or for worse, mostly for worse, at least at that age. It was not the healthiest place at times, right?
Sure.
And my parents were very strict, incredibly strict.
Oh, really?
And and so I felt, at times very out of control there, and very, the opposite of autonomous. I mean, just really
The victim of these. Whatever whimsy they.
whims,
yeah.
exactly. And so for sure, it was a wonderful escape and great autonomy. Yeah, and that responsibility I really connected with. Like, oh shit, okay, I'm trusted with this.
I would imagine you learn to have a compartmentalized existence and you learn to have a secret existence where it's like, joke's on you motherfuckers, I'm a whole different person in the city. And
It was weird because they
that's a dodgy skill set to develop, as we'll learn in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, and they saw
And do you
that.
you end up having to lie to parents like that, right? You have to act like you're not doing anything or...
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I definitely, what I was going to say was, because my parents were a part of that, like, when the play was in its sort of, when it was really running, they would just drop me off and then come and pick me up. So I actually did have that sort of, actually, here's what it was. There were three, there was Dave and I, and then there was our understudy, who understudied both of us. So we were the three minors that had to be there every night. And so there had to be a guardian with us.
Mm-hmm.
And
A Catholic priest.
yeah, exactly. He was very gentle. We still keep in touch.
Thank God. They're
still keep
not
in
all
touch.
gentle.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to any Catholic priests in the audience. But next show, 90% off to all Catholic priests.
So we had to have, basically our parents would take turns.
Oh, okay.
So one week it would be my parents' week. So one of my parents would have to be there during the show, and we would trade off. But for 2 out of 3 weeks, I was dropped off and was allowed to sort of play in this adult world.
Sure.
For 3.5 hours, and it did become my sort of secret little world.
Now, you graduate high school, you've accumulated some money, they told you it's for college, and then you did go to college for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great job.
Good job.
That's 15
Listen,
school
Mom,
days.
you said it was for college. I fucking went, all right? Like, give me my dough.
So you go to
Yep.
college for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and that's 18. And between 18 and 21, before we get to a big chapter in your life, are you working? Are you supporting yourself? Are you living off that sweet, as the world
sweet Burger
turns
King
money?
I left. I was at NYU. I left NYU after a couple weeks, and I took a semester off. I just didn't like NYU. And by the way, part of it, I'm sure, was that I knew I was paying for it with my money. And NYU is not cheap, and I was miserable. And I was commuting from home, from Jersey.
Oh, fuck that.
Which was the worst.
Yeah.
It was the worst. I did not get the experience. It was just, it just didn't, it was just not fun for me.
Well, in fairness, you gave it 3 weeks, but...
I did give it 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I gave it
I
the
would
old
say
college
you gave
try.
it the college try. but you really didn't give it the college try.
Oh, wait, no, hold on, wait, that's wrong. Wait, that's wrong. Okay, hold on. That was a different
That was
college.
just a different
Hold on,
college.
yes.
Yeah.
So I went to NYU. I
Princeton.
gave it a full semester. I gave NYU a full semester, hated it. I remember I took economics at I took econ and like one was like a required creative writing course, and then 2 other courses I don't even remember, but I took economics, which was like,
I love how you say economics.
I'm supposed to say economics?
I say economics. I could be wrong. Monica
No,
will find
I think
out.
you're right if it's the subject. The subject, economics.
As opposed to the verb? When you economic,
Like
you can
these
say it like
these
that?
people do economics, but I'm studying economics. That's the difference.
Dude, I just economics the shit out of a 6-inch sub at Subway.
They all believe me. I have so much power
you
here. It's
do.
crazy. It is crazy. Made it all
I'll
up.
fact check that fact check.
Yep.
Yeah, and I remember getting up in the middle of my econ final. I think I'd answered like one question wrong, I'm sure. But it was like a 3-hour final.
Oh, jeez.
And I had decided before I even went in that I was not coming back. And so I answered like one question, or wrote.
Gave it the old college
Gave it the old
try,
college
yeah,
try.
yeah.
And I got up, like pencil down, got up, like walked with such confidence to the TA, handed him, everyone in the class was like, wow.
Whiz
How? I was like, it's done. It's done. I did it.
kid. Will Hunting style.
Yeah, I was like, you guys are still working on this? Fuck, man. Yeah, and so failed it, of course,
Yeah.
and failed the class. And I took a semester off, and I worked I was still auditioning, but wasn't working that much, or at all. And so I was working at Gap Kids, actually Gap Kids Baby Gap combo store.
Great. So all your infant needs, really.
All of my-
One-stop shopping.
But it's interesting because I can fold the shit out of a toddler onesie.
I bet now you're happy
Now
you
I'm
did that.
thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
I
is-
bet Jenny's
No
particularly
folding board, nothing.
just in the air.
Just boom, boom. Brilliantly. So I
I
worked
have to ask
there.
one pervy question again. It won't be the last. You're working in a kid's shop and the gals are coming in,
Mm-hmm.
new moms and stuff. You seem fun and everything. Were they asking you out or anything? Just seems like,
Not where I thought you were going with that
me
question.
Either.
Yeah,
Me
okay.
either. Me
I don't
either.
think anyone here thought that's where you were going, but I'm grateful that that's where you went.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
We all
like
are.
I had a buddy who worked in the produce department at a grocery store.
Sounds exactly the same. Yes,
Yeah.
please go on.
It's just an ideal job for a young man.
Okay.
Oh, whatever. I'm sorry I got us off course. I have a lot of Baby Gap fantasies.
There were definitely a lot of young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? She
Who
goes.
doesn't?
Yeah. So, anyways, I
You're
did not.
cute. You're folding the shit out of the onesies.
No, I actually I started folding. I started dating. I folded the shit out of this one girl, bro. Dude, you don't even know, man. No, I started dating one of the other cashiers.
Oh, perfect.
So that was hot.
Okay, great. That makes me happy.
That's
Yeah.
normal levels of hot.
Yeah.
Nothing hotter than
But I
talking
would
shop.
think about the children's clothes when
Okay.
we hooked up.
That's
Is
fair.
that pervy
Yeah.
enough?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, cool.
You never put your genitalia in the little socks?
Now,
Oh, there it
now
is.
we did
There
it.
it is.
Now we did it.
We knew we'd
That's
get
where
there.
I thought he was
I knew
going
we'd get there.
before.
Yep.
I took the long route.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took a while to get
Yeah.
there, but I knew you could do
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
worth the walk.
You never fail.
I knew
on
you
that.
could do it.
Oh boy.
So we have kids. So took that wonderful semester off, and then decided I was like, what am I doing? Still not where I was like, obviously auditioning for things and thinking, I'm going to get something. It's going to solve all, because when I was at NYU, I think the biggest thing for me, it wasn't the money, it wasn't the commute, although those were certainly factors. It was, I wanted to be acting, right? And like, in hindsight, what I probably should have done was applied to Tisch and actually gone to the drama school, and because I was passionate about it and loved it and was decent at it, right?
Might be married to Kristen Bell now.
Maybe would be married to Kristen.
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah.
Shit.
You know what? You blew it.
Well, she would have
You really
applied to
blew it.
Tisch.
Weird, huh?
Yeah.
So,
I'd grab a job over at Baby Gap. I'd be doing just fine.
Boy.
what if we literally, those were our lives? And I'm sitting here, you're interviewing me because this is your side gig from Baby Gap. And I'm like, anyway, my wife, Kristen Bell, super awesome.
Oh, boring. I had my testicles in the cutest pair of little socks last night. Didn't think they were going to fit, but got the sock wet, and then it got...
No.
It was great.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So you're married to Princess Anna from Frozen?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have my
yeah.
testicles in Frozen socks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Cute little... Okay.
That's amazing. What weird lives we have.
I know,
huh?
parallel.
Jeez. Took the semester off and then decided I needed to go back to college and applied to a smaller liberal arts school in Jersey, Montclair State University, and then I was there for 3 weeks when I. But you know what? When I applied to Montclair State, I went to transfer my credits. I'd spent,
Couple $100,000.
I mean, at least 25 or something,
Sure.
$30,000 for this semester at NYU. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to transfer my credits. And Montclair State, along with most colleges, apparently, have a minimum requirement of 16 credits that you need to transfer. And because I failed econ or
had
econ,
12.
I had 12. And so the NYU stint was completely useless.
Just a wash, yeah.
It was a complete wash. Anyway, I went to Montclair State. I was there for 3 weeks, auditioned for a TV show, got the part, and went out to LA and then did that show. Left college, obviously, and then went out to LA, did the show. It was canceled after 13 episodes, but I decided to stay out in LA.
And you stayed in LA?
Yeah. So that was 97.
Okay. You're 21 years old.
I think I'm 19.
Nineteen,
I mean-
21.
Carry the one. I mean, whatever. It's close.
Okay. A Canadian 19 or an
Yeah,
American
it's the
21.
metric system. It's the metric system.
Well, you can drink
I get it.
there at
Yeah,
19, whatever.
That's right.
So at 19, you get
Yep.
an audition.
Yep.
And it's for American Pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you go in your it's a teen comedy, right? You're
Yep.
not your expectations are probably average, right?
Yeah. So that year there were so many teen. That was like the teen movie. Like my timing was kind of perfect in terms of coming out to LA and getting an LA agent and sort of doing the whole LA thing, because it was every teen movie. I felt like there were so many great auditions, and most of them were not great, but I would have been thrilled, obviously, to be cast in any of them.
Sure.
And I remember reading the script for American Pie and thinking, oh shit, this is actually...
Did you think, like, I can't believe they're going to make this?
Partly. I couldn't believe that it was at a studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like, I wonder how much of this is going to be cut, basically.
Sure.
I remember reading it and thinking
Flute
that.
in the pussy. You're like,
yeah,
that's
I was like, that's gone. That's gone.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
might let her say it once, but it ain't
Yeah,
making
but
the
they're
edit.
gonna- yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they'll give me the alt and
Yeah.
so. But I remember thinking, oh my God, this is really funny. This is really good. I would really love to get this one. But again, I'm any of those movies. I think it was like that year was She's All That and There was a ton of. I mean, there was a ton of
10 Things
them.
I Hate About You.
What's that?
10 Things I Hate About You.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Same. I know.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Yep, which I auditioned for. I mean, there was so many of them, and but I remember with American Pie, and it wasn't called American Pie at the time, but I remember thinking
Is it
like
called Flute Pussy?
it was called Flute Pussy. Yeah, but again, they had to change.
Well, they had to
it.
change
They had
that.
to change
yeah,
it.
to get distribution in Germany.
Yeah, it was a little
means
much.
something completely different
It was
in Germany.
a little
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
but yeah.
Flute Pussy.
Yeah, it was like you pussy flute. They
Yeah,
switched
yeah,
the,
they flip it, and then it's disgusting.
Because they do the verb or something before that.
Yes,
It's like
yes,
weird.
yeah.
And, yeah. So, or der pussy flute, I think.
Yeah, sehr gut.
Yeah.
Sehr gut. Pussy Flute.
I just want
Yes,
to do
I'm
the pussy.
looking at the parts catalog right now. I know this is gonna shock you, but your engine actually has a flute pussy in it. I'm so sorry, Monica. I promised you I wouldn't do this. And here I am.
I know.
You
Can't
can
help
have
yourself.
one from Stuttgart to you in the 3 weeks. Okay. So you go shoot this movie and you
Yep.
meet these guys. Do
Yep.
you get a sense right away, like when you meet Sean William Scott, are you like, oh, this dude's this
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of everyone was like,
It's an incredibly well cast movie.
Yeah.
It's really, and that's what makes like, if I can pat ourselves on the back for a second, like without a paddle, tons of people turned that movie down, and it was just this whatever. Script was good or bad, who knows? But some weird magic happened between Seth and Matt and I, and that just is you get lucky.
Yeah.
And then we had the time of our life, and then it was kind of tangible on screen, and people liked it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that thing you kind of hit the jackpot, right?
Totally.
All those guys and those gals were fucking awesome.
yep. It was great, and and the experience was great. I mean, yeah, we were so young. I mean, at that point I had turned 20. And Eddie K. Thomas, he was the youngest. He's remained my closest friend through all of it. The guy who plays Finch, Shipwreck. Yeah, someone just said Shipwreck. Exactly. He got his drive. I remember he had like a week off during filming, and he was from New York, and he came home to New York, and I guess he got his driver's license, because then he came back to set and he was like, "You guys, I got my driver's license." We were all like, "Holy shit, you got your driver's license!" Like that was the biggest fucking deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, those 2 months were pretty surreal. One, because we were all just thrilled to be working. But
No one had an ego yet, right?
Zero ego. It was just it was really fun. It was well cast. We all got along. But there was also this sort of energy underneath it all, like, oh fuck, this is maybe going to be good. Like we kind of could see, I mean,
Yeah.
you shoot some of these scenes and you've got the crew and people going, "I've never seen anything like that before." Like that
Right.
is fucking nuts. And
Yeah.
and of course you go, "Well, is that's good, right? Like that's a good thing."
Sure.
And so there was just that kind of energy that we were
Well,
maybe
no one had seen anything like the Human Centipede either.
right. That's true. That's
it can
true.
also
You make
go
a
the
great
other
point.
way.
Also good.
Those
You make
people
it-
on set were like, "We've never seen anything like this," and they were like,
You're like, sweet, that's good, right?
"That's great." So the movie comes out. It's an immediate hit, right? It wasn't like one of
Yeah.
these slow building things. It's
it
a
was-
giant hit.
Yeah, it opened number one. It was the red band trailers were still kind of a novelty. Because they did them
Do
in
your
the, now you
AOL
could-
dial-up.
Pardon?
Wait 40 minutes on AOL dial-up to
Yes.
download this trailer.
Well, that was the thing. It was mostly in the movie theaters. I mean, yes, there was online was starting to become a thing, but now, I mean, every R-rated comedy has a red band trailer. It's out online before you, and they're great. But like the red band trailer as a thing, it was still like, whoa.
Sure.
Like when you were in the movie theater and you saw all the trailers in the beginning, it was like green, following preview has been, and you see the trailer, and you see it, and then when the red one popped up, it was like, what the fuck is this?
Yes.
And then you see the trailer, and there's a dude with his dick in a pie.
Yeah.
People were like talking about it.
And when you shot that scene, I just thought of like 80 hacky ways to bring that up, as I'm sure you heard throughout the whole press. But yeah, your love scene. I'm sure that was one that came up a lot.
Yeah.
At any point during that where you're like, ooh, this is either going to propel me to stardom or it's over.
Yeah.
There's a high,
Oh, yeah.
that's swinging for the fences, fucking an apple pie.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. Did you like confer with any like?
I called my manager that morning.
Okay.
We actually went in, so we got to set.
What's your manager's name?
This was at the time Brian Medavoy.
Okay, so I'm Brian.
Yeah.
What's up, Bigsy? What's going on?
Hey, Bri.
Hey,
so,
guy.
I just got to set. So we just rehearsed that scene. You know,
Wait, refresh
one,
my
yes,
memory.
the one where Jim he fucks the pie.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
That's a great scene.
Anyway,
That's
yeah.
great.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's a great scene.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. I'm
That's a
supposed to
scene
go in there
stealer.
right now and actually fuck the pie. And so I'm just wondering in terms of my career and sort of, things seem good right now.
Listen, can
but
I
people
just-
don't know who I am.
Well, they're
and-
gonna know you after this.
Yeah.
They're gonna know
Right.
you after this.
And so should
there
I be
won't be a
worried
baker
about
in the city
that?
that won't shudder when you walk in to their pie shop.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, Brian.
Quick,
and so,
well, hold on. Quick pro tip. Mickey Rourke and Lisa Bonet, they actually made love in Angel Heart.
Okay,
and
not
that
a great
chemistry,
example.
That
You're not
chemistry
selling
is
me on this.
undeniable. So I'm just saying, go for it.
well, if
Go
Mickey,
for it.
Mickey Rourke did it. Okay,
That's right.
thanks, Brian.
Okay.
And then I fired Brian the next day.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah.
But I called him, and I literally. So we went in for rehearsal, and we were like blocking it out, and I was just like, is it?
Because I see your butt cheeks in that, don't I?
Yeah. And we shot it 2 different ways. So we shot it with me standing up,
Okay.
and then we shot it with me
Missionary?
on top of the top of the counter. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
The island, the kitchen island, which
I bet you were so sick of talking about this like 8 years ago, but now
I'm into it again.
We're into
I'm
it.
into it
Yeah. I waited
exactly
long
right.
enough. Like I can, if
That
I
is
knew
right.
we're anything alike.
So
like
true.
I hated talking about punks. I couldn't stand it, and then now I'm back to I love it.
It's so funny. It's
yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah.
So, anyways, you're nuts deep in this apple pie.
Nuts deep. Well, but I called him. So we rehearsed, and I went back to the trailer, and I was like getting ready, and I called my manager, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna be honest, I'm like kind of freaking out. So we're about to do the pie scene, and I don't like, am I really doing this? And he, and I will never forget this as long as I live. He's like, Bigsy, you fuck the pie, you fuck the shit out of that pie, and don't you look back, man. I was like, okay, great. Here we go.
Oh my God.
So it's
Awesome.
virtually like I was pretending.
It was pretty much exactly like you said, minus the Mickey Rourke example.
Sure. Just my own.
But he literally, you fucked the shit out of that pie, and I was like, okay.
Fold the shit out of that pie.
Yeah, you fold the shit out of it. And
Origami that thing.
And then we went in, and I did it, and again, the crew was such a big part of it, like, because again, you're looking for you're really like
Trying to check
is the
in.
second AC, like, is he sitting there going, you know what I mean? That's how you know, right? Like, because the director, you're kind of.
They've drank the Kool-Aid.
And then also becomes very technical, and so the humor is always inevitably kind of sucked out of these situations at some point, right?
Right.
Like, it got to a point where, my pants needed to be adjusted. I was showing too much crack. Oh, there's my scrotum. Let's raise that. It was literally like a whole thing.
They know this. You don't know this, but I had a director come raise a bit of sheet because you could see my anus.
Like the actual.
Yeah, my biggest fear in life. And you just know there was like 9 people behind the monitors going like, ooh, am I seeing? Yeah, that's Dax's anus hole. So
It's a big- yep.
who wants to go adjust the sheet? Oh, Jesus, man. It's a humbling experience.
You go back to the monitors. There's literally sheets over the monitors. They were like,
You're not
"Ooh."
going to fix it on.
No one's
on
looking
set.
you in the eye after. They're just like, hey, what's up, Dax? I saw your asshole. Hey. Good, great job. Yeah, and so did it, and then, but then it was a year, right? A year of like, what is going to happen with this thing that we shot?
And it's a big old touchdown.
It was a big old touchdown.
So awesome.
Yeah.
So you're 21. How quickly after it comes out do they start saying you're 20? Okay.
No,
big
no,
deal. I want you
was-
to be 21
I
so
was
bad.
okay.
I can't wait for you to be
I'm
21
I'll
in
do
your
it
life
right
story.
now. I will do it right now. So I shot it. I was 20, and then it came out in July of '99. I turned 21 in May, right before. Perfect timing.
Ooh, what
Perfect
a sweet
timing.
time to be 21.
Yeah.
#1 movie in America.
Yeah.
And how quickly are they talking about a sequel from when it comes out?
Huh.
So I'm imagining you made $5 on the first one.
$5.
Yeah. And
How quickly? That's a good question.
well, you can lie.
Sure. It was like 2 months.
Okay, 2 months, great. I guess I'm wondering, at what point do you go like, ooh, I'm going to get paid?
Yeah.
And then you start adjusting, you're like, oh, maybe I can move into that apartment, or maybe I can buy this thing.
Yeah, it was, I think it was even before they started talking the sequel. It was because I got off of that, I got more work, right?
Sure,
like I was like,
right.
I got other movies.
Yeah, I guess you weren't even
right?
probably thinking about that as much as like, oh my God, I'm going to get to star
it
in
wasn't
movies
that
now.
long after. But but at first it was just like, oh my God, I can get other jobs. Because that year was really a weird sort of time for me. But again, credit to my manager who told me to fuck the shit out of that pie.
Yeah.
Because he was like, this is lightning in a bottle. That was his another quote I had to keep remembering. Because I was still auditioning, and I remember auditioning for...
Yeah, you probably got offered something that he probably was like, you can't
Exactly.
do this.
Yeah.
Which is the hardest thing in the world to do, right?
I'd never turned down a job.
No, yeah.
An acting job. I spent at that point 16 years trying to get any
Great
fucking
quick
job.
math. Yep. 21 minus 5.
Carry the one.
16. Yeah.
And the idea of like passing on something was preposterous.
Yeah.
Like how can
and then you're telling yourself like, oh my God, I've already gotten too big. If I do this, I've gotten too big for my britches. It's all going to be taken away from me.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, how can I? So it was a real struggle for me. I remember getting, in fact, specifically, it was that pilot season, sort of the pilot season that happened in the middle there. I was like, I'm going to do a pilot, right? Like, I'm going to do a pilot.
Yeah.
Let's get a pilot. And I auditioned for something. He was like, okay, let's put you out there. Let's see. And I got offered one. And he was like, I don't know that you should do this. I don't think
It was Friends.
I don't think.
He should have done it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but he was like, you're going to pass on it. You're going to pass. I think you should pass.
So I guess then you're answering my next question, which is, at 21, does your ego go berserk at all? When that first movie comes out and just slays, are you like, oh fuck, okay,
I mean,
my shit doesn't stink?
Good question. I mean, sure, I recognize now, after years of doing this, that I definitely have a healthy ego, right?
Well,
and
you
that
kind of
enjoys
need one.
Yeah. But at that point, I was very cautious with the whole thing. I was very... I just always was waiting for the other shoe to fall, I think. Right? And I had already seen the ups and downs. Like, prior to that, all of my good news sort of came with but this, right? Like, you're nominated for an Emmy, but you're fired and you're never doing that role again. right? Like, it was always kind of like the reality of the business I had seen since I was so little, right? And I had gone years without working. During that time, and when I was a kid, it's fine, right? I could just go to school and be a kid. I wasn't, But so I always had a sense of like, okay, this could definitely all go away. That being said, I definitely had fun. I mean, I definitely didn't let myself, I wasn't like, I didn't not allow myself to enjoy it.
Right. Okay.
Like I definitely
You went to
was
bars
like, this
and
is
shit,
fucking
and-
amazing. Like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Every young person in America within a week knows who you are, right?
It happened that weekend. I mean, I literally remember walking with my roommate to go get, breakfast in Santa Monica, and crossing the street, a car, this was a Saturday morning, so the movie came out the night before, and a car stopped and screamed at me through the window, and they were like, do the dance! And we were just like, my buddy and I just like looked at each other. We were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Overnight, right? I mean...
And do you start, when do you start loving booze?
So I start loving booze probably before I left New Jersey. I was late to it, but
Wasted no time catching up?
yeah, I didn't really. But again, because my parents were so strict, I was definitely. I was afraid, right? Like I definitely thought it out. I didn't allow myself to go bananas, right? Even though I wanted to.
Could you though feel like when you got drunk for those first times, did you have that feeling that I had where I was like, oh, I was born to feel this way?
1,000,000%. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, ooh, I like this jacket.
I've
been wearing it.
Yep. Totally.
I'm handsome. The future's positive.
Yeah, and when I first came to it, it was sort of that I had just the acting stuff wasn't really happening. It was slow. It was like my last year of high school, beginning of NYU, essentially. But at that point, I had finally caught up socially and had some good friends, and that's of course who I was partaking with. So I just, for the first time, really started to feel comfortable, and then the booze just sort of, I was like, this is it. Now I'm finally. Finally.
Our friend Gordon Keith says we're all born 2 beers away from feeling happy.
From happiness.
Yeah, 2 beers away from happiness. We're just born 2 beers away.
Wow.
Which for me is kind of profound.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was when I went to LA. So now, when I moved to LA, that was my first taste of independence, right? I had gotten it in small doses when I would go in and do the play at night, but I would always come back to the reality of, I'm really not that guy. I have to be this guy. And so moving to LA for me was
like going to college, basically.
It was like going to college. And then American Pie, literally that set, those friends, the subject matter, it was my college experience. And then the years that followed that, I was college age, give or take. I was always 21 for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. From 96 to 2003, you're 21.
I'm 21.
Yeah.
Exactly. and then that's where it took off.
Right.
That's where drugs came in for the first time.
Yeah, what age do you start powdering your nose?
Yeah, so... Well, I'd done ecstasy first in New Jersey. I think I'd done E was the first hard drug I had done, but only once or twice. And then I went out to LA and, of course, found the drug friends. And we did lots of E. We would do E nightly.
Okay.
And then...
That's great for your mental health.
Great.
Yeah.
And then, and then at some point, Coke happened. And that was probably... I know when it was. It was the year between shooting American Pie and it coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was that...
Perfect timing.
Yeah, it was
now
perfect
you're going to have some
timing.
money.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. At that point, it was still just kind of like I loved it.
There's a sweet spot. You can run with a sweet spot for quite a while,
I ran
right?
with a sweet spot for a while. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yep. At that point, I was an everyday drinker. I was an everyday something, right? Whether I was sitting around getting stoned or drinking or, and not...
Another way to say it is you were a good time.
I was great fun.
Yeah, that's right.
I was everyone's friend.
Yeah,
I was a good hang.
And would you ever work fucked up?
I wouldn't. So I was also, I felt like I had it under control and I would never work fucked up. And I remember, entertaining the thought, but I would always come back to that feeling like I had when I lived at home, which was, oh God, if mom and dad catch me, I'm so fucked. And so at that point, it was like, I had enough of a sort of sense to not want to jeopardize any of that. Like I
Right.
knew how sort of lucky I was, and I wouldn't. But that being said, I would still, especially in hindsight, I mean, I was very careless in so many other regards.
Sure.
You know, where I could have, jeopardized all of my jobs
Sure.
just because I wasn't drinking or partying on set.
Lucky for me, the only thing I was more addicted to was working in movies.
Right.
So it's like this other addiction, thank
Totally.
God, trumped the
Well,
other
for me,
one.
the best feeling in the world, the best high, and I've realized the high that I'm always chasing more than any is approval, work approval,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that is for me like the high of being on a set, cracking a joke, even just getting that feedback
Yeah.
for me is, but the problem is this doesn't always happen, right? Like
They're not coming home with you tonight.
They're right.
I mean, some of them
are.
will. Some will. Yeah.
Some are already folding themselves just to,
In anticipation.
Yeah.
So they don't fold too quickly once it happens.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
That's sure.
Yeah, you're right. I was able to keep the sort of work thing. I was like, work is the ultimate for me. I mean, I just
Right.
loved it so much, but the rest of my life was quickly became a shit show.
Right.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, I would be mad if you didn't capitalize on that juicy opportunity. So with the sequels comes money,
Yep.
and that then can also facilitate the other stuff, right? Nicely.
Yep.
And at any point, do you start getting scared of like, oh no, I'm going to be defined by this movie only? Or are you like, who gives a fuck? I'm on a freight train and I'm happy to have it.
Yeah, I didn't
Because
think
at this point, we would both be able to recognize that to get in something like that happens to 1 in a trillion working actors.
Yeah.
And yet we think, oh, we need to get another one. Not even thinking like, oh, well, you already got the thing that's 1 in a trillion, a
Totally.
franchise
Yep.
that's successful.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I was aware that it could be a thing, but I also was like, I knew that the reason I was doing the other jobs I was getting was because I played Jim in American Pie, right?
Right.
And
You were in the Rolling Stones and they entertained your side projects.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's exactly right. And so I wasn't, I mean, I always wanted to do other things. I always felt confident in my abilities to do other things. I had done more drama when I was younger, but I also was like, carpe diem. I mean, you want to cast me as this sort of awkward teenager, unlucky in love guy next door? Great.
See, I think
I'll
this is
do
very
it.
cool about you. And I had met you, we met 10 years ago for the first time, basically. No, not 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
No, 10.
No, because I had 3 years. Oh, you're right, 11.
11 years.
Quick math, 14 minus 3. 11.
You were 21.
Yeah, 10 years away from 21. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had zero chip on your shoulder. You're not a chip on your shoulder type of person, which is awesome.
Thanks, dude. I mean, I like
say that with envy. I'm a kind of a chip on my
Yeah.
shoulder type of.
I mean, I'll be honest, I think I've gotten more of one.
Oh, good, good.
I do feel
Welcome,
like,
welcome.
I mean, thank you. It's lonely over here,
I know,
bro.
I know.
I feel
know.
icky.
Yeah, but we'll prove them wrong.
Yeah, wrong. I also kind of, there's also something to being sort of young and dumb, I think. I was like, okay, whatever, I do these movies now. I'll always have my opportunity. Oh, I could do that and later and da-da-da-da. And I'll be honest, it's only in the last couple years am I finding that it's become a thing, or at least I'm more aware of it being a thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And that is, and by the way, I still wouldn't trade it for the fucking world.
Sure.
I don't even know that I need to say that, but I mean, it's the kind of thing that I feel like I do need to qualify it because it was the best thing that's ever happened to me, for sure, career-wise. And so, and all the work that I've gotten since then has had some connection to that film and its success. But in recent years, I found that the American Pie thing kind of, which is crazy because you would you would think it's so long ago, and I've done other things, and I like to think that Orange is the New Black in particular was something that is certainly a different sort of thing. But
it's Bateman's Arrested Development.
Right, but I still kind of hear it a little bit, and I wonder if that's, I think I'm at like this weird age as well, 21, where I'm 40, right, and like I'm a dad, and the kinds of roles that I want to be playing and think I should be playing. Are starting to catch up with me, I think, but it was a few years there where I was people still kind of saw me as that, and so it was hard to. Well, I don't know.
Well, you and I, we have a mutual friend, Don Roos, who said the most liberating thing to me, which is he said, I stopped thinking of my job as a career and just started thinking of it as a job, because a career is your ego.
Right.
And a job is you show up and work, and you're not in the results business. Totally. And that's what someone with humility just does.
Yeah, it's so true. And, I feel like, I'm sure you and I are both like this, where we've always thought that, but, you kind of I kind of got caught up a little bit in like, also you have people around you that, are advising you certain ways, and maybe I shouldn't speak for you, but for me, I definitely had a period where, I was reluctant to do certain things. The biggest example is TV, right? So TV, right? Those first couple years after American Pie, I was very lucky, had a lot of movie opportunities, but the early aughts, right around there, mid 2000s, some TV opportunities were coming my way, and my instinct was, that sounds like a good job. Sounds like a fucking great job. Yeah, let's do it. I used to do TV. It's been a few years. I would love to do it. And, but...
The agents are like, if you do TV, you'll never be in movies again, right?
And it's not their fault. I mean, I was like, I should wait. I should do it. And then, and then I was always behind playing catch up. You know what I mean? I was, instead of being the guy that's like, fuck yeah, I'll do TV, I needed to wait until everyone else said that it was okay, that, all the other actors.
De Niro's doing a TV show?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But then by the time, so then I'm like, okay, I'll do TV. And they're like, we don't want you.
Yeah. Guess
De
what?
Niro's
Everyone
doing
wants
it now. Fuck off, bro. And you're like, oh, shit.
Sean Penn, I just saw an ad that he's got a TV show.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
So anyway, I mean, well, now especially the whole thing has changed. But yeah, like we were talking about, I mean, there's no... the word almost sounds like it's such a funny word now, but content, right? It's all about content.
It is.
And people consume it in different ways, and there's no right or wrong way, and people don't judge. And I mean, social media is the best example of the way sort of people watch.
Well, you are particularly brilliant on social media. I find, I don't watch The Bachelor, but I could read you writing about The Bachelor all day long.
I appreciate that.
Or this week, go on to his Instagram. This last week, his wife was out of town, and he was in charge of making the kids' lunch. And every day, the lunch got shittier and shittier and shittier. And at one point, the lunch was just fucking medicine. There was just all this medicine in a spoiled avocado. And I was like, this is some of the most brilliant work being done is on your Instagram.
Well, what's... So
I ran into the kitchen to show Kristen. I'm like,
amazing.
Have you seen Biggs's fucking lunch story?
My story.
I like that more than the last movie I went and saw.
But it's fun. But I looked at the numbers of the people who watch this. You could go to the analytics on Instagram, and I'm like, there's way more people have seen that than the last 4 movies I've done.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Jenny, I would like to preface that Jenny, my wife, makes these crazy lunches for Sid and posts them every night with her own brand of humor, but the lunches themselves are very earnest and really she puts in a lot of effort.
Sure.
And so she was out of town this whole week, and I was like, fuck, what am I? And I was like, there's really only one way to go with this, and that is the complete opposite.
Yeah, you're not going to over.
Fuck no, I
shoot
can't
her.
compete.
No.
Yeah.
At what point do you go like, okay, I got to stop powdering my nose?
Right, yeah.
I feel like you told me a story about being on a golf course or something, just getting real gacked out of your mind.
middle of the day.
Yeah, sure.
Playing
Tuesday afternoon.
Playing in a foursome on like a Tuesday afternoon. The other guys are like, maybe a beer. You know, the cart girl comes around. He's like, I'll have a beer. And I'm like, I'll have a beer, and I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. And I would go and do blow in the bathroom. And I remember thinking at that point, like, this is a thing. This is a thing. But I think even before that, I mean, that's one story. But like, my life had started to have a lot of those stories.
Consequences.
Yeah, and I was just like, what am I doing, you know? And then when I really started to sort of take inventory of my past too, like I think about, you know, that first time after American Pie, the first movie that I did, right? Got paid a little bit, went up to Vancouver. It's my first location shoot, because American Pie was in LA and I was living there. So it's my first time on location, and I have this apartment, and I had a roommate in LA, so it's like I had my own place, and it was just all of these things. And the first thing I did when I got up to Vancouver, and I wasn't 21 yet. Oh, no, I was 21.
Yeah, you're exactly 21.
I was exactly 21. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me that I was 21. But the first thing I did was went to the liquor store, and I remember having a cart, because it wasn't just a 6-pack and a bottle. I mean, I had a cart. I was like, I'm stocking my apartment.
Yeah, swinging bachelor.
And I remember that was the first time I was aware of drinking alone. That was the first time I was like, I'm drinking alone. But I didn't think of it as it wasn't a red flag. It was like, it's fucking cool.
Sure. Yeah.
I could just, I'm home from work, home from set.
Yeah.
Kick off the shoes, you know, get a highball glass, fucking.
Yeah.
You know, but very quickly it was like, pour the glass and one extra for daddy, put it away, you know?
Sure.
So
it is really funny when you blow by these markers that in your mind were, that's what an alcoholic does. And then how when you do them, you all of a sudden your situation is unique.
Yeah, right.
Like my thing was like, if you drink in the morning, you got a real problem. But if you drink Sunday morning after a rough Saturday night, not a problem.
Not a problem.
And if that turns into like an all-day thing and you need to have a little drink on Monday just so you're not sick.
Yeah, you don't want to be sick.
Curb it off by Thursday and then start that fucker right back up again.
Yeah.
I did that for a year, and at one point I was like, oh, you really drink in the morning 3 days a week. That's for real.
Yeah.
But it's crazy the power of.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I first, I would say, I mean, it had been, for about a year or two, I was in therapy, and I was so afraid to talk about, I remember wanting to bring it up for the longest time.
To your therapist.
To my therapist, that I was concerned about my drinking and drugging.
Yeah.
But I knew that once I brought it up,
you'd get a solution that you didn't want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then I was accountable, right?
Yeah.
Then the next session I would go in and she'd be like, so how's your, did you have, and it's like, fuck. No. So I knew that once I did it, that was the beginning of the end for me.
Yeah.
Or at least I thought it would be. And so I kept not doing it. I mean, I would go there hungover. I would have this therapy session, and I would literally, there was a liquor store around the corner. I have like a tough therapy session and be like, fuck, I need a fucking drink. I would go to the liquor store and buy a bottle of vodka, drink some of it, and then drive home.
Your therapy session.
Yeah.
That's
It became
a real
weekly
testament
thing.
to that therapy.
Yep. Yeah, no shit.
Oh, she's a great therapist. About a year into seeing her, I started cheating on my wife, and then the next year I started drinking after the appointments.
Oh, yeah. So, but then I did bring it up with her, and I'm trying to think if I remember sort of the big moment for me was Jenny saying that she was pregnant, right? That was sort of the light bulb went off. It was like, wait a minute, or went on. That was for me the moment where I was like, I have to. Well, it was the moment where I thought I had to say something to Jenny because I hadn't. So you know what I did? Because I had told my therapist first. So it was probably in the months preceding Jenny getting pregnant that I was talking to my therapist about it. And wouldn't you know it? So I told my therapist, and I was like, I don't know, I'd like to talk about it. I mean, and she was like, you know, I'm not sure, I wasn't sure if I was going to tell you this or not, but I'm going to. I've been sober for 35 years.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God. So then of course, I immediately go back and I'm like thinking about all these stories I've been telling her.
She's like, oh really?
She's
yeah,
like,
you had insomnia.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you had? You know, fucking random nosebleed on Tuesday afternoon after playing golf with 3 strangers. Okay.
Yeah. Fuck, the random nosebleeds.
Oh. I just told a story about that last night.
We're the worst.
Cast table read for, not cast table read, cast dinner for Idiocracy. This mid-meal. I always get nosebleeds.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I don't.
I had one, and this was actually, this was one of the times where I remember thinking, oh shit, it's coming into the work world, was actually a table read for a play, and started bleeding, and I had to like go, and it was just like it wouldn't stop, and I was like, oh my God, and they kept coming and checking on me, Jason, do we need to reschedule? I'm like, no, I just, fuck, I put the heat on in my apartment last night, and it's super dry.
Spent the night in Santa Fe last night. Very dry up there at elevation.
But anyway, I feel great. Just give me another 3 hours, I'll be right out.
I should be out of blood soon. It's not an infinite amount of me, so sooner or later this is going to fix itself.
That's great.
Yeah. But the kid.
So is the kid, yeah. And then,
but
so
I've
I told
seen
my
that go
therapist
the opposite direction, by the way.
Well, where they go bananas with
where it's like they're telling themselves, oh, there's a kid, I got to get it together. And what people don't understand about when you're having a kid, and if you've not had one, is it actually, to me, I was 9 years sober when we had our first, and I actually felt a compulsion to have my own secret life again, because it's like, oh no, now I'm really accountable permanently. And now I want to have my own little private life. And I know what my private life is.
Totally. Well, that's why for me, that was, it's okay. She found out she was pregnant on a Sunday. I went on a 2-day bender.
Good. We got to celebrate.
Yeah. And
to be a father.
You know.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was like, champagne! Also cocaine and ecstasy and mushrooms, but champagne all around!
Yeah.
So anyway, came out of that and was like, okay, I gotta do something. And so I told Jenny, and...
was she shocked, or she was like, yeah?
I think she was like, okay. I mean...
Because you hit it kind of well?
I hit it very well.
Yeah.
I snuck. I was a sneaky drinker, and so partier even. I mean, she would like, and also Jenny was kind of not naive, just kind of.
She's normal.
She's just kind of normal, yeah.
Right? She can do stuff and not care.
And, it's so true, yeah.
It's just like my wife.
Yeah.
So annoying.
So fucking annoying.
I know. Watching her have a glass of wine at a restaurant is the most infuriating thing ever. It's like there's a third left. She's not even thinking about it. We'll get up and leave. I'm like, you're kidding. Get back to that table and finish that fucking wine. You're embarrassing our family.
She's not normal. She's better than normal.
Well,
Most people are. Yeah.
Extra normal.
Yeah, Jenny the same. Doesn't have that.
What a bitch.
I'm
so sorry to.
So cunty, but also gets buzzed so easily.
Same with Belle.
So it's like. Takes 2 sips and is like, can you drive? And I'm like, yeah, I could fucking drive.
Off a cliff.
Yeah, fucking straight into the ocean. Fucking bitch.
Yeah, the difference is my wife goes, ooh, like we got super into Peaky Blinders. We love Peaky Blinders. So she started having like, hell yeah. She started having like whiskey on the rocks, you know, like a millimeter. And she calls it her Tom Shelby's, and she gets a little buzz and she goes, oh, this feels great. And then the next thought isn't like, full panic. I must maintain this feeling over life or death. That's that's me.
where we would go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
She's happy if it dissipates or whatever.
Well, it became a huge math equation, right? I mean, it was,
Yes.
in the end, it was just like, I can drink this and then do it, but I'll have this first by myself because I don't want to be seen like, I don't want to chug
Yes.
a scotch at the event, but I will at home by myself so that I don't need to chug that scotch because I've already chugged the scotch. So and then it's like, then you add Coke into it and it's like, if
Yep.
I do, now I'm too drunk, I got to do a bump. Oh, but if I do too many bumps, then I can't talk and
Yeah.
It's a whole fucking
Yeah.
nightmare.
It's just a lot of algebra, really.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah,
It's a
we know you can't do it. I mean,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I compare it to like on a road trip. When I'm on a really long road trip, I'm like, I'm going 82. If I go 82 for the next 10 hours, that's 820 miles. If I go 87, that's 870 miles. We'll be there. And literally, that's my whole
The whole drive.
40 hours is if I bump it up half a mile an hour.
Yeah, no. So that was sort of my come to Jesus moment, and I got in the program, but then I didn't because I think what you just said about becoming a parent and sort of wanting that thing, and also there was that part of my brain that kept saying you could do it,
Right.
and then I would go a year and it'd be like, oh, obviously I could do it. I just want a fucking year. Obviously I'm good.
Yeah.
And then it would fall off and then it would quickly. So I've unfortunately had a lot of ups and downs, but not unfortunately. It's my story. It's what it is. And and now I've been back
Very
for
much a part of it.
for a while. So I'm feeling good, but
Yeah.
but it's an amazing thing.
I love sharing that with you. We've spoken at these secret society meetings, and I always enjoy your point of view.
Same.
And before you go, I just want to hear about just one of your Twitter fiascos. You
Yeah,
can
sure.
pick the one, because it's
Well,
newsworthy.
apparently.
When I read your Twitter, tell me if I'm crazy. It seems I'm so jealous. You'll write anything. People must say terrible things back. And you must not care. I admire, you're my high watermark of like being able to use that thing to go like, fuck you, this is my sense of humor. Take it or leave it. You can unfollow me or whatever. It seems very liberating.
Well, it was.
It was.
It was.
Okay.
I'm not that anymore.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
And for a long time I was. For a long time I was, I could say whatever the fuck I want. It's when I first kind of found Twitter, I have a dark side to my humor.
Yes.
I kind of will say and do whatever. And I found that it always sort of surprised people, that that people's perception of me did not match. Maybe because of the characters I played.
Yeah, I'm in that category.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, I read your tweets and I was like, oh,
whoa.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed
Buckle
that,
up,
right?
yeah.
Like I enjoyed surprising people, and obviously I enjoyed getting a reaction and being
a provocateur.
provocative, exactly. Yeah. So, but then I got in trouble a lot. And I took the stance for a long time, like, whatever, fuck it, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
And mind you, a lot of this sort of coincided with my last years of drinking.
Oh, okay.
Right? And for so long, I was like, my drinking, my drugging has nothing to do with this, right? Because I would point to a tweet that I got in trouble for where I wasn't drunk at all or on drugs. See? But looking back, of course, it was a time in my life where I was very, awash in...
Sure. It's a roller coaster up.
Yeah, my brain was pickled for sure, and I'm not putting it on that, but I definitely had a sort of like, combative side to me that I think the booze and drugs obviously helped.
Yeah.
But I really haven't tweeted. Instagram has become sort of the newer thing, and I have to be honest. Like there was the one. So I was let go from a job.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh, that's for real.
And it was for real, and it wasn't. It was like, something that, whatever. I'm fine with it now, but I think it really fucked me up. And, for a while initially, I was like, I did nothing wrong. I was just combative, you know what I mean? I was just like, what did I do wrong, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, if I get into it now, and I'd rather not, but if I were to get into the details of it now,
don't.
I would still come back to, I would end up saying things like, but I meant this, because that's sort of the instinct is to do that.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, I fucking did it, right? And there was someone else that didn't like what they heard. It had to do with, I could talk about the tweet if you like. It was the
You don't have to. I'm not. I
okay.
don't want to bring up anything.
But the fact that I
didn't realize you had been canned over.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You really shit the bed. I must.
Yeah.
Can't wait to read this tweet when I get home.
And no, but it fucked me up though.
Yeah.
It definitely fucked me up because that was a huge
weirdly
wake-up
though,
call.
Truth be told, it might have been a blessing because that was what 2 years ago. 3 years ago?
It was more now. Yeah, maybe 4 years ago. Well, I could tell you what I was doing. I was doing because your buddy's with Seth, right? Green?
Yes.
Yeah.
Love Seth.
So, because he came in and replaced me, I was doing the voice of Leonardo on the...
Well, I don't feel so bad because I love Seth and he got
he's
a job. That's
and
great.
by the way, I don't feel... Yeah,
It's kind of got a happy ending. We love Seth. Yeah.
I was doing the voice of Leonardo in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series.
Okay.
But I had done it was basically a series of tweets,
okay.
right? Whether there was one about the Pope that I made a joke, there was one about Malaysia Airlines,
Okay.
and
All right.
you hear people going, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Fucking made a joke about Malaysia Airlines? What a fucking douchebag! Oh my god." Anyway, it was a fucking funny tweet. Fuck you guys. But it was enough. It was enough to get people calling Nickelodeon.
Sure.
Like, hey, my kid watched, whatever. Again, I could get into like, your
We don't
kid shouldn't
need
be
to.
on my Twitter feed, and he's not, but whatever. Anyway, I made the tweets, right?
Yeah.
And I knew that they weren't thrilled with them. That's all I needed to know. That should have been enough. It wasn't.
Yeah.
I tweeted more.
Oh boy. Okay.
What I thought were innocuous.
Double down. Textbook double down.
Double down.
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, our phone is literally ringing off the hook. What had happened was like sort of super right-wing group sort of just made it their mission to come after me and boycott the sponsors of the show.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and it sort of went from there. And I think it really traumatized me in a way that I see now as like a really good thing. I mean,
So, my thing is I struggle with this too because I'm like, no, I have a comedic persona and I have a comedic point of view and I'm entitled to make these observations and that's my role in society. I can get real lofty about it.
yeah.
But then I have to admit to myself, yeah, you can do that, but then you also can't sell Samsung refrigerators.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
And guess what? I want to sell Samsung refrigerators. And then you have to go, you know what? That's someone else's lane.
Yeah.
There's another comedian who will do that.
Yep.
Or I'll get like, I think I need to be making Sam Harris's point. And I'll think I need to get in on some topic. And I'll go, no, that's his lane.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
sell those goddamn refrigerators. They're not going to sell themselves.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay?
But it's-
and they are a great product, though, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
The whole line.
The whole-
washers.
all of it.
Dryers.
All of it. Yeah.
Those Koreans know how to.
I didn't think they were, but now that you said it, coming from Dax Shepard.
You should hear my wife say it. You'll be running to a Best Buy. All right. Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming to the 10 o'clock show. You really showed your true colors tonight. Please, Jason Biggs. Thank you, Jason, for coming
Thank you.
into
Thank
the
you.
Lions
That was
Den.
awesome.
Monica Padman, my partner in crime, the greatest lady other than my wife and two girls. Thank you guys so much, Brooklyn. Who can it be knocking at my door? Monica, come to check my facts some more. I want to see if it got my facts right. If I was wrong, I won't put up a fight. All I wish for is to atone. I spoke wrong from my armchair throne. Check facts for me now. Check facts for me now.
Cool. That was good.
That was from Sean Grindle.
Good job, Sean
my
Grindle.
God.
That was great. Well, thanks for singing that song. That was nice.
But we're here to talk about Bigsy.
Uh-huh.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a sweetheart?
Really nice person.
I really like him.
Yeah, I enjoyed meeting him, yeah.
And he's cute and he's funny.
Uh-huh.
You know?
It's the whole package.
He's really got it all. No wonder he landed that babe, Jenny. Mm-hmm. Who's also super funny and witty,
Yeah.
attractive,
Yeah, they're a good pair.
and fertile.
Sure.
They've had 2 kids.
Yeah.
She got it all.
Well, we don't want people to think who are infertile that they don't have it all.
There's nothing bad in the world. Well, we don't want anyone to feel bad. Of course not, but we can't say being fertile's good.
Sure, we can say whatever we want. Yes. Jason, okay. All right. Well, you said that almost all of people who suffer from Munchausen's by proxy are nurses. So Munchausen's by proxy abusers are usually very knowledgeable about medical treatment options through experience as a patient, through training as a child care provider or healthcare provider, or through library and internet research, it says. Seems
could
sort
be
of obvious.
you.
Yeah, definitely. It was reported that in 85% of their 41 video documented cases of Munchausen's by proxy, one or both parents had training in a field related to healthcare or in daycare. Now, I don't really understand what that means. Do they mean daycare like a child care daycare?
I believe so. They've cast a wide net in that definition.
Yeah, but that was really the only number I could find.
Mine came from Stuff You Should Know, which is a fun podcast, and they have an episode on Munchausen that you should listen to. And then it gives you the history of why it's even called Munchausen, which is a pretty fascinating story. You know why it's called Munchausen?
No.
There was I want to say there was a German general, Munchausen, who had gone on some type of crusade, and when he came back, he had all these tall tales, like he encountered monsters and stuff.
Oh.
And he just embellished the hell out of what had happened on his
interesting.
crusade. Yeah, so I think it's synonymous with liar.
Yeah. Wow. Or exaggerate. Or yeah.
Or someone trying to get attention
I
for
don't know
themselves.
if I don't think they're not lying though.
Yeah, they are. They're 100% lying.
Well, no, they're giving themselves often the issue. So they are experiencing the issue. They're not like lying and saying their foot is broken. They're breaking their foot.
No, well, they're doing things, but the whole thing is a con. It's a lie. They know they
It
don't
is.
have cancer, so they're shaving the little girl's hair. And remember
That's
the
by
one
proxy,
we watched,
but yeah.
yeah. And even the people who have just Munchausen not by proxy, they are figuring out ways to fake symptoms, and they're trying to get a false diagnosis. So that's a lie.
Yeah, but yes and no. Like with Munchausen's by proxy, often the mother, which is common that it's the female, like will poison the child and stuff, and so those children are sick.
Oh yeah, but the children aren't even who are assessing whether or not they're liars. It's the person perpetuating the Munchausen, whether it's by proxy or not, right?
Well, yeah, but if it's not by proxy, it's the same thing where like the poison element is still real. Mm-hmm. But they
That's
are
true.
lying about it just happening to them or them like going, they go to the hospital. Yeah, they're lying, I guess.
Yeah.
And saying this just happened.
And they somehow are smart enough to know that if they use a certain kind of poison, it'll kind of trick a different diagnosis that they're going for. Mm-hmm. You know? Get
Yeah.
your white blood cell count up or something.
Yeah, I was really scared of it because in the movie The Sixth Sense,
Yeah.
Misha Barton, it has it. She has Munchausen's by proxy. She's a ghost.
Oh, okay.
Sorry if this is a spoiler.
Well, that's not the big spoiler of the movie. So as long as you keep the big.
That's true. So, yeah, she like comes out from under the bed and she's all pukey
Oh.
because she had Munchausen's by proxy. Her mom killed her.
Yeah. What a weird psychological situation
Yes.
there. Yeah.
I was very scared of that afterwards.
We're still allowed to say that's bad, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's how annoying I always say that, as if everyone's under attack. It must get old, me saying that. Can we still say that?
Right.
Yeah. Like I feel like they're taking away everything from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's a scary disease. I hope none of our armchairies have it.
It's weird that we can even call it a disease.
It's a psychological disorder, for
psychological.
sure.
I guess if we're allowing people to say alcoholism's a disease, then I guess we gotta include Munchausen.
Yeah. I don't think they want to be the type of person that wants to do that.
Right. No, probably not. No one aspires, I doubt, to be that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I weren't an alcoholic, I could imagine going like, that's not a fucking disease.
I
Get
know.
real.
But they're wrong. You'd be wrong.
They're wrong.
Yeah.
But I can see it. I'd be sympathetic to someone who's calling BS on it being a disease. She'd go like, no, you catch a disease. You can't catch alcoholism. Although you do kind of catch it from your parents.
But you don't catch cancer.
Well, you catch your genes from them.
Huh?
Oh, yeah, you don't catch cancer. That's right.
You don't catch a lot of diseases.
That's true.
They just happen
That's
to your
true.
body.
Good point. And I hope I don't catch cancer.
I hope you don't catch cancer
Yeah,
either.
but I don't want to catch Munchausen either.
I don't want you to, and because I feel like you're gonna do it to me.
Do you think you could get Munchausen's out from a salad bar? You know, a lot of those things are transferred at a salad bar.
Ew,
and I
know.
love salad bars. They're
I
my
know.
favorite.
I like them too, but
Oh, they're the greatest.
I never really thought. It's weird because I think I'm kind of germophobic, but I don't ever think about that when I'm at like a salad bar.
Oh, well, that's the great joke. Is if you love something, you don't care. You don't give a shit.
I guess
why
that's
people have sex without
true.
condoms and stuff. They're worried about STDs, but in that moment, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, you're right. That's
Yeah.
true. What kind of salad do you make at a salad bar?
Heavy on the iceberg.
Mm-hmm.
Always some grated cheese.
Me too.
Mushrooms, chickpeas.
Oh, okay.
I always mix dressings. I always put at least 3 dressings on there.
Oh.
If they've got a turkey option, I'll throw that on there.
Oh, wow.
I'd say the bulk of my salad bar experience though is from Big Boys. In Michigan, it was Elias Brothers. Big Boys out here, it's Bob's. What was it in Georgia?
I don't know. I don't think we have it.
Well, I
we?
think they all turned into Shoney's by the time you were.
Shoney's, yes.
Yeah, most of the Big Boys in the South converted to Shoney's. But anyways, they have that beautiful Bob's Big Boys blue cheese, which is the star of the show. So I like to try to, I won't overload a salad at Big Boys because I don't want anything to steal the blue cheese's thunder.
Oh, I see.
And I know you don't like blue cheese, crumbled blue cheese, but a lot of people who don't like blue cheese dressing do like Bob's Big Boy.
Oh, wait. No, I've had it. You have it at your house.
Yes, of course I do.
And I do like it.
Yeah, it's really good.
There's no blue cheese taste at all.
It transcends blue cheese.
It
Even though
tastes
there
like
are
ranch.
chunks of blue cheese in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is great, a great dressing.
I make, I don't know what lettuce. I don't think I have. Normally at those things, you don't have lettuce options unless you're at like Whole Foods or something.
Right.
Which we're not talking about that kind of salad bar.
Although Sizzler does have spinach on the bar.
Oh, spinach is the one thing that I'm sort of a little bit weary of in an environment like that. Because
I
my
agree.
mom told me to be scared of that, and I am.
Yeah, I have no data to back this up, but I feel like when I hear about some kind of listeria outbreak, it's generally on a darker level. I can't remember a time where they said, don't eat iceberg. Can't remember it.
Wait, didn't it just happen?
Well,
No,
it
that
happened
was
with
romaine. Oh.
Another dark, dense
Well,
green.
romaine is not that dark.
It's much darker than iceberg.
Yeah, well, iceberg's white.
Ooh, while we're on the topic of salads, my very favorite salad, as you probably already know, is a blue cheese wedge.
I know. I think everyone knows.
They do?
I think we've talked about
Oh,
that.
I love a wedge.
Yeah. Okay. So, I just wanted to clarify because you say that, or he is talking about his dad's work and how he got to take his son there.
Well, it was in shipping, right?
Yeah, he was-
like where they run the cranes and the.
shipping, yes. And now that's moving towards automation. And so he said and his dad lost his job, and he said felt really lucky that he got to take his kid before that happened. And you said, yeah, until it's only the computer kids who get to do it. And it kind of sounded like you were saying like children of people who work in computers, but you meant little
Computer progeny.
baby computers, tiny computers walking around with tiny computer legs.
That's right. When AI hits its peak, I can only assume that they'll want to procreate.
Sure.
And then they'll, of course, be little computers with legs.
Sounds cute.
It sure does. Milling about the docks.
Yeah.
With the,
But these little computers will be so smart that they won't like hurt themselves like babies do.
that's true.
So it's nice. The kids can do whatever they want. They're not going to like jump off or fall into the water.
I could see them losing their balance because I'm picturing very cube-like little beings with little tiny legs.
But they're smart enough. There's some sense that will go off before they get too close to the edge because they're made of computer.
I mean, you make a great point, but these drones do crash. Even with the greatest
humans
programming.
are programming that. Well, I guess you're right.
You always got to restart everything. I don't care how good it gets. You know, even the best now phone and computer in the world, you got to reboot those things all the time.
So maybe you lose one computer baby every 10 years, but for the most part, those babies are doing good.
Yeah, they're gonna be with us.
Yeah. It's a cute thought. Oh, okay. When he was on Broadway as a kid, he said he did a play with Dave Krumholtz.
Yes, and we just saw Krumholtz in something.
Yes, but I didn't know that's who it was. I didn't know him by name. So me and you recently watched a little bit of The Ballad of Buster Scruggs
Yes.
on Netflix.
Which Krumholtz was in.
He's in, but I didn't know that, and we didn't say that, but he popped on the screen, and I said, is that the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You? And you said, I don't know. And then today when I was doing my fact check, and I was like, who's this Dave Krumholtz? I pulled him up, and it was that guy.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up, and it was the guy from 10 Things I Hate About You.
Well, he was in that.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I was introduced to him through Slums of Beverly Hills, which was a fun movie
Oh.
with Natasha Lyonne.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting because I guess, they started together in this play, and then they were working at the same time because Jason did American Pie and
Krumholtz.
did 10 Things I Hate About You, and that's all right around the same time.
They kept at it.
And they were both in these popular teen movies.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Krumholtz has a very distinct voice.
Yes. I hope if you don't know who he is, you should Google him right now because you'll immediately know who he is if you see him.
Google him.
Yeah, do it. Okay. Oh, we talk about the pronunciation of economics versus economics. And I gave a reasoning that I made up.
Okay.
And I just want to tell people that I made that up. So that's not real.
Okay. That one went during the interview.
During the interview, I made up an explanation
That doesn't hold water.
and I made it up completely. And
Okay.
everyone believed me.
Oh, right. I remember that moment.
yeah.
And I got a little bit nervous about your powers.
Yeah.
And there needs to be
Reined in.
some kind of mechanism that checks your superpowers.
Yeah, I crossed the line a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. Welcome back.
Thanks. And then I looked it up, and on the YouTube pronunciation,
It's economics.
no, it's economics.
Economics?
Yeah.
Still don't like it.
You wish it was economics.
Yeah.
Because you don't like that hard E.
That long E.
Yeah.
I like a short E.
You do?
Yeah, economics.
I bet it's because you think economics sounds,
Hoity-toity.
yep. Yeah.
Yep. Blue blood, East Coast, Connecticut, trust fund, old money. Does anyone know what the economics of this situation are?
Yeah.
Economics.
But that's what it is.
All right.
So
Well, they're often right, those rich people.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably why they got so rich.
I mean, we should have been able to guess that because you shorten it as econ. You would never shorten it as econ.
No.
That would be strange.
Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now.
That's a book.
Eckhart Tolle.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart, Elkhart Lake, Indiana.
Ebony and Ivory.
Ebb and Flow.
All right. So I looked into what the first movie was that had a red band trailer. And I could not find info on that. It was crazy. I mean, I found a lot on like red band trailers, but not the first movie. And then I was suspicious
Okay.
because I felt like that should have come up quick.
But he made a claim that it was the first one?
No, he didn't.
Oh,
He
okay.
was just talking.
It was new. That whole thing was new.
It was new, and that made me curious. Like, what was the first one?
Yeah.
And then I couldn't find it. So if anyone knows and wants to tell us,
You'd appreciate it.
I'd really appreciate it. Yeah. All right. So you said that Mickey Rourke and Lisa Bonet made real love in Angel Heart.
I hope I said they're rumored to have. I
You
wasn't
didn't.
there. I didn't?
No.
Oh.
It was in like a joke.
Oh, okay. That is the rumor I've heard many times.
I saw that there was some rumors, and then I saw a lot of people saying, no, that rumor is not true.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you watch the scene in Angel Heart?
I didn't watch it, but I want to based on what I was reading.
Ay, ay, ay.
Because the controversy is like, it was given an X rating because of that scene.
Ay, ay, ay.
And then they had to cut a lot of that out to give it the R rating.
I don't think you could find a prettier human being ever to be on screen than her in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That is the top of Everest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She doesn't even look like a human being.
Yeah.
She looks like she's from the Avatar films or something.
Right.
Like a different, like Na'vi. Like
Yeah.
too good for us. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lisa Bonet.
Yeah.
What a beauty.
She is. Yeah.
And then she got with a beauty, a real big beauty, Lenny Kravitz. And made another beauty. And then, just when you thought she couldn't top that, she marries Jason Momoa.
Wait, Zoe Kravitz?
No, Lisa Bonet is married to
No.
Jason Momoa.
Zoe Kravitz is Lisa Bonet's daughter? I did
Deal
not
with
know
that.
that. I did not know that. I
Makes
did not.
sense, right?
It does.
Yeah. Makes a tremendous
Definitely
amount of-
does.
It really holds. I've told this story publicly, so I don't mind telling it here. I don't think I'm breaking anyone's confidence, but you know, Lisa Bonet, all-time number one. I know I say that about, there's a couple people I say that about. I got to be a little more careful. Because, of course, Nev Campbell I was so in love with from Party of Five. But just aesthetically, for me, Lisa Bonet's number one. Met her at a party, and they were together.
Who?
And Zoe and
her mom.
Lisa. Yes, which her name now is Lilikoi Moon.
Okay.
Which of course I know because I'm a big super fan. Well, anyways, Kristen said, "Oh my gosh, there's Lisa Bonet. You got to go dance with her." And I spent the evening dancing with her. It was so wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
it was
a
really
dream come
wonderful.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
Fun.
And then the part of the story that then turns is that happened. I danced with her. I think I made a good impression. Then we ran into her at the Game of Thrones premiere.
Yeah.
And that's when we went in tank tops that said, "Stark in the streets, wildling in the sheets." And we put tattoos all over ourselves. But I got separated from Kristen.
Sure.
And it was kind of a premiere. Everyone was dressed up in like suits and beautiful dresses. And I kind of went up to Lisa and I was so excited to see her again. And I started talking to her and I all of a sudden felt very insecure about my outfit and all these
yeah.
tattoos I had all over myself. So then I quickly said, "Kristen did it too." And then I had to find Kristen to back up the fact that we both look stupid.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I'm sure she thought it was cute.
I hope so. It looked pretty awkward by myself. If I was the only one there like that, it's one thing to go as a team with Kristen, but it's another thing to just show up by yourself in a tank top at a red carpet event with tattoos all over.
That's true.
Yeah.
How old is Lisa Bonet?
Well, I don't know, but she was on the Cosby Show, and that's where I
Yeah, I
discovered
guess she
her
was
beauty.
on the Cosby Show.
Yeah, and then there's also some famous riff-raff about Bill Cosby because she did that movie and she was naked in it and he was very disapproving and he shamed her about it. And look who's the fucking hypocrite.
Oh
I know.
my God.
I know. There's many things to be, offended about his story, but the one thing to me that really, really gets me angry is the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
The moral high ground he was always on, preaching to people, telling Pryor and Eddie Murphy not to swear in their routines, about that. And he's trying to shame Lisa Bonet for being nude.
Wow.
And here this piece of shit is
Jesus.
drugging people. Yeah. Next time someone's standing in their ivory tower telling you about all your moral
red
indiscretion,
flag.
it's a big red flag for me.
Yeah. When someone
Do you think
feels
they'll
like,
change the name to That's a Cosby Flag?
sure, we can start that if you want.
Okay, we'll try.
Yeah. When someone appears to have all the answers, they normally don't have any.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that is all.
That's it?
There was not very many facts.
Yeah, I love them. I also love you.
I love you.
What color would you say you're wearing? Because I would say red, and then you would disagree.
I'll say red. I'll
You
meet you
will.
at red.
Okay, a little orange in there. It's an orange red.
Yeah.
It's really making that brown skin pop.
Yeah.
Nice
My
pop.
shit skin.
Oh, no, don't say that. But we should recommend those 2 documentaries we watched.
Yeah.
We watched 2 documentaries, one called White Right?
I think so.
Yep, about a British female of Pakistani descent and her experience with racism. And she goes and sits down with a bunch of white nationals. That's fascinating. And then, hit me with the name of the second one.
Accidental Courtesy.
Accidental Courtesy. Also amazing about Daryl Davis, jazz musician who similarly befriended a lot of Klan members and convinced many to leave.
Yeah. We watched them in very close proximity to each other, and it was a lot of feel bad and feel goodness.
I agree.
Feel badness and feel goodness.
Yeah, I was able to see my own hypocrisy a little bit.
In what way?
Well, if you recall, I was able to sympathize with some of these white nationalists because I could just see that they were really lonely, rejected human beings that were willing to accept any ideology to have some friends. Like I was able to see it through those stories.
Yeah.
And I realized that I would not be as keen to observe that in an ISIS member.
Right.
And I realized it was just a failing of my own empathy because they don't look like me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I need to remember that.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were having a little bit harder of a time than I was being sympathetic to them.
Well, no, I wasn't. I was sympathetic, but I guess sometimes I get worried that the sympathy for them will shadow the sympathy for the victim. That's
Yeah.
what I get worried about in those conversations. But I was very, very.
Well, I don't think, I would imagine your fear is that through sympathy, there somehow would be tolerance for their behavior. So I have zero tolerance for their behavior.
Yeah.
But I have a ton of sympathy for what would lead you to that bizarre place.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like
do
none
too.
of the people in this documentaries were like crushing it their whole life and
No.
decided to, start marching around with tiki torches.
Yeah, and there was all these moments where, like, when they were face to face with her in the white nationalist one, they like felt so uncomfortable. Like she'd ask them straight up, like she'd read tweets and that would say
They
something.
called her shit skin,
Yeah.
which is what started this conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
And they asked her like, stop saying that.
Yeah,
I don't
stop
want you to
saying that.
call yourself that. It was so weird.
Yeah. And then for me, I was just like, oh my God, just the answer to all of this is just diversity, just exposing young people to all the kinds of people. I always say that, but I really, like, this was such a good indication of where it can go if you don't do that.
Well, some of the people in this documentary are talking to her, and she is the first Muslim they've ever spoken to. And in Daryl Davis's case, a lot of the people that he's the first black person they've ever talked to. But regardless,
Yeah. Yeah.
I did recognize my own failings, my own empathy failings.
Interesting.
It's harder for me to find that sympathy and forgiveness when the people don't look like me.
Yeah.
can't imagine I'm alone.
I can't either. I think that's why we have problems. But yeah,
Yeah, but good on you, mate.
Yeah.
All right, love you.
Bye, I love you.